Welcome to the Champions Podcast. It's the Sunday night conversation. It's your boy T Drake, my co-host Korey Harris, out of the ATL Hot Atlanta. Cole, what's going on, bro?
T, what's going on, my brother? Good
Man,
to finally link up with you. Hopefully everybody out there on the East Coast is safe with all this weather that's coming in from the storm. But yeah, man, let's get it going, brother. Let's get it.
Hey, want to apologize to the audience. Last week I was on the road, couldn't log in. So here we go. But we won't miss it again. We gotta, if one of us is out of pocket, we know what we're gonna do. We got some stuff to keep it rocking and rolling. So make sure you go ahead and continue to stay tuned with that Sunday night conversation. I know Sunday night football is coming up, but hey, look, we'll be sitting here talking about Sunday night football while we're talking about stuff on the Sunday night conversation. You know how we do it, Cole.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
Locked in.
So welcome everybody to the Champions Podcast. I hope everybody's had a tremendous and amazing weekend. Yep, you know it. We got the Monday coming up. Welcome everybody that's joining us on the IG. I see a couple of people copping in. Go ahead and spread the love. Let everybody know that T Drake and Korey Harris is live on the Sunday night conversation. Cole, I was wondering, man, I got a question for you.
Okay, go ahead, T.
The funniest movie that you have ever seen?
I guess it would be a list for me. I can't give you just one off the top of my head right now, but for sure, the first Friday, I got to put that one in there. Death at a Funeral. That one always had me kind of like holding my gut, laughing. Like it's just so much in it. You got to watch that movie like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Man, one more. I'm gonna say throwback Money Talks with Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen. That was a funny one for me. What about you?
I'm surprised that you did not mention this one. This one is on. I'm actually watching it now.
I probably was about to say something else, but couldn't remember.
I'm actually watching it now, and I want the audience to chime in on that. What do you think? What is the funniest movie that you have?
My bad. Life.
Okay, all right, Life.
Yeah.
I see my boy Mandel. I see Mac on there. What's up, boy? Good to see you. Hope everything is well with you. Join us in on IG. Hey, but Cole, I am surprised. All right, so you said Life. You said Money Talks. Friday, and then you said Death at a Funeral. How can you not say Coming to America?
Oh man, yeah, that's all time. You're right. That's number one.
I know there's a great debate regards to Coming to America, Friday. Which one is the funniest?
It's not close. It's really not close. No, because that's why I was like, man, you put me on the spot. I couldn't really think of my top 5, top 10, but Coming to America, easy. Like from start to finish. First of all, you got one dude playing like half the cast. You got his co-star who's playing the other half of the cast.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's all the legendary comics in there. Yeah. Just surrounding them. So no, that's easily top 5. Easily.
That's it. Coming to America. So audience, go ahead, join in on that conversation. What do you think is the funniest, one of the funniest movies of all time, or your top 5? Well, man, that rain is coming down. But hey, look, go ahead, drop it in the chat. Let us know what your favorite movie is. Your favorite comedy movie is. Once again, my favorite is Coming to America, hands down.
Big Brother is singing at the wedding, at the beginning.
What is your favorite movie? What is your favorite part in the movie, Cole?
Favorite part in the movie? Okay, the barbershop is legendary because again, that's Eddie and Arsenio playing so many different characters all in one. I gotta say, it's when Sexual Chocolate is out there singing on the stage, and they eating fried chicken in the crowd and passing the offering at the same time. Like, I don't know why that part get me. I sing with him every time he sings. I believe the children. Like that's bar none. For some reason, that part get me. I think it's the Jerry Curl juice and all that.
Man, so you telling me you don't sing with the she's your
my voice be cracking. I can't like take it as high I think his name was Ofan. The guard. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, man. That is a classic, man. But you got stuff out there like Harlem Nights, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Eddie has done a tremendous job in regards to comedy, man. Nutty Professor, all those things like that. So, man, he has done an extremely awesome job. Hey, man, before we get into what we're talking about tonight, the WNBA is back. What do you think about the game with Dana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark the other night?
I didn't get a chance to see it. I saw some highlights. I was actually going to ask you, what did you think about basically Caitlin Clark being left off the Olympic roster and how that potentially has actually given her a leg up on the rest of the W, because female players, in my perspective, don't get the same pre-draft opportunity that the men get. They go kind of right from March Madness into basically like having to go straight into the draft. And so I think women like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all these other rookies, they didn't get their fair adjustment period. And I feel like Caitlin might have like gotten a cheat code by not going to Paris, and basically no one else from the Fever did either. So it's like they had an opportunity that maybe the Aces didn't have, or, these other juggernaut teams in the league didn't get, to kind of have almost another preseason or mid-season adjustment period. But what are your thoughts? I mean, you were talking about the game specifically.
Yeah, but my thoughts in regards to, first of all, her being left off of the Olympic roster, it's kind of like, I understand one aspect of it where they have this group where they have bringing them in over the past few years that they've been working with. Some question whether or not chemistry would be messed up if they brought her in with the cohort that they have. It's just, women basketball internationally has, even with Caitlin Clark, has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that it has not with other players prior to her, because it has. But we have to look at it the way that it is for what it is. Yeah. She has done something that others they were doing it, but it's kind of like the spotlight has been put on her. She came in right on the tipping point in regards to NIL, all those different things like that. So she kind of hit the wave right on time.
Yeah.
If you and I train Asia Wilson, I think that you switch the two. You put Asia Wilson right here on this catching the wave.
Right.
We'll be talking about Asia Wilson.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? I think that Caitlin just caught the wave at the right time.
Perfect time.
Because man, when you and I trained, had that camp, and Asia Wilson was there, man, had the opportunity to work with her, man. We knew that we knew we was working with a superstar. We knew we was working with someone that's gonna transform the game.
For sure.
So it's for a lot of people it's a muddy situation, but I do understand Team USA and them saying in regards to, okay, we've been working with this cohort, bringing someone else in at this time, it probably would kind of mess up the chemistry type. But at the same time, on the other end, you got Asia Wilson, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. I know for sure Sabrina Nescu in 2028 in 2028 in LA. That's gonna be a tough team.
Oh, for sure. For sure. No doubt. I think you hit it right on the head as far as it's the perfect storm in, collegiate sports, and whoever, is a part of this class of, talent that's going to represent the next generation of female athletes as well as male athletes. They're going to kind of reap the fruits of those who came before them, sowed the seeds, kind of planted that garden. Like, the W is looking for that type of a face, right? So Caitlin fits that. And I'm not talking about race or ethnicity or anything, but she's clean cut. She's not getting in trouble off the court. You don't have to worry about a bunch of drama or anything like that. Like, you might not like her. Some might actually, hate her or something. I don't know. But her game is relatable. Like, she's a female version kind of Steph Curry, where the everyday hooper, even someone who doesn't play like, professionally or doesn't do it on a college level, you feel like I could do that. I could shoot threes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So now you outside screaming out Curry, or you're now screaming Caitlin Clark,
Yeah.
you know, when you're shooting from 30 feet away.
Yeah.
So I think that she kind of captures, you know, the minds and hearts of a lot of little girls out there who probably want to grow up and play basketball now because they can see themselves maybe not being 6'5", 6'6", or whatever, but they can see themselves, you know, developing their skill set and kind of doing what she did, especially with Iowa. Like, that's
Yeah.
the heartland of America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, we forget America, the majority of it is like Midwest and, you know, regions outside of like these large metro areas. So
Yeah.
she kind of represented a lot of people that don't get represented in basketball.
Yeah. That what you would say blue collar type player.
Yeah.
You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people have their different views on it, but you know, like Stephen A, you know, has been saying, a lot of folks, you know, I know he mentioned it a lot on First Take in regards to, you know, go with the flow. Like, you know, when you look at it from a business perspective,
Mm-hmm.
she is trailblazing some things on the business side, whether you like her or not, whatever the situation, she is trailblazing some things that, once again, she just got in on that wave at the right time. You know, in certain leadership industry sectors, they call it the tipping point.
Yes.
And so it just so happens that she got in on this tipping point, and it is like they're saying, you know, join in, catch that wave, ride it while you can, because she's doing some things that is really expanding the game internationally, all the way down to 4-5-year-olds that's going outside wanting to be that new Caitlin Clark. It's kind of like when we were growing up, everybody wanted to be like Mike. You know what I'm saying? When he was in the commercial, he was hitting the little boy on the backside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like everybody wanted to be like Mike. You know, you couldn't hoop, but you wanted to go get some J's. You couldn't hoop, but you wanted to go get, you know what I'm saying, the Jordan sweatsuits. I had a blue one. You know what I'm saying? I had the blue one with the J's, and the J's with it's kind of like got a shine on his tongue on the front. But it's just like, you know, he transformed culture.
Right.
And for girls and women basketball, she's transforming culture, whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my thoughts on it. The game the other night, she dropped 29. I think she went on for a triple-double almost. If not did do a triple-double, but she it's just hard to stop her, man. You know what I'm saying? She has a tremendous IQ. Sees the floor well, you know, shoots the ball, facilitates, orchestrates, does it all.
Yeah,
does it all. But that's not to say that, you know, others that have gone in the past, the Asia Wilsons and all the rest of them that have gone and who could definitely be the face, just, you know what I'm saying, in this situation. Sure. But once again, they hit that wave, man, and you know, we just got to move with it from there.
Yeah, I think Caitlin has that chance. I mean, I do think it should be Asia because she's obviously done the work on that level, right? Caitlin's just now starting, but you know, who's to say that there can't be multiple, right? Or there can't be multiple representatives. I think obviously she has to keep working on, you know, her one-on-one game on the WNBA level. Like, from a college standpoint, there were far few in between. There was basically nobody, you know, that could take her from doing what she wanted to do offensively. And then Iowa was a machine, and she fit into that system with that ball screen, you know, coming off, hitting the roller. And if you know, went under or you fell asleep, she'd shoot the three. But I think for sure when they went to Paris and obviously she was back, having that time to work on whatever she was working on. Like, I saw a stat, she, for the month of July, was averaging like 26 and 12 with like 6.5 rebounds. You know, obviously that's before, but still, I think, you know, she's getting used to the physicality. I think she has figured out some things as far as like toning down her other antics that sometimes get under, you know, some people's skin. Like, because she did have a little bit of a fire to her and an edge to her that at times would rub her competitors the wrong way and rub some of us the wrong way, right? And she seemed a little entitled, but now she's settling down. She's understanding, like, you're a young woman in a room now full of grown women. And they don't fear you. Like, they don't care what you did in college, because they all did that in college. Not necessarily all break the scoring records, but they all were, you know, they all were big dogs on whatever their respective campuses were. So I think she's settling in, and it'll be fun to see.
Well, we hit our 15-minute mark. With our introduction, this is our conversation that we have prior to getting into our topic for today. Just want to welcome everyone to the Champions Podcast, the Sunday night conversation. It's your boy T Drake, co-host Korey Harris out of the ATL. Appreciate you locking in with us tonight. Tonight is going to be for the parents. It's for the parents. We got 3 topics for the parents that we're going to be discussing. So if you're a parent or players, you know your parents are somewhere in the house, go tell them to log on to the Champions Podcast. We're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, IG, and on X. You can catch us everywhere. The Champions Podcast, the Sunday night conversation. Cole, here we go, man. We're talking about the parents. Three pillars tonight that we want to address. Number 1, frustrations of parents, balancing time commitments between basketball and other activities. We're going to start right there. How do parents with the game? I mean, you go from AAU to camp season to the season to in-season tournaments into January MLK events, and right after MLK events, we go straight into the playoffs in around late February, March, go straight back into AAU in March, and the cycle continues, and then some of these young ladies are 2-sport athletes, whether volleyball or lacrosse or soccer or softball. And then on top of that, other activities in school that they're trying to participate in, whether it's different clubs or different things like that, or extracurricular organizations outside of the school. Yeah. How do parents balance this balancing act that must take when dealing with basketball and other activities, and the frustrations that come along with it?
Yeah, it's a great point. I'm glad that we're touching on it. To all the parents of athletes out there watching this conversation that Terry and I are getting ready to jump in on is one that the both of us combined, like decades of experience. I don't have any children myself, so I'm not trying to be judgmental or critical of anybody out there when we get to talking, but I do have, like I mentioned, decades of experience working with not only athletes, but partnering with families. And when you do what we do, a lot of times you see what works and what doesn't. And so it kind of puts us in the roles of, like, at one time we were big brothers, and now that we're a little older, we are acting as father figures a lot of time. But more importantly, we're like counselors for these families. So Terry, I think the best place to start is just talking about every family and every parent that I work with, that I see who kind of understands what they're doing, like, it's because they have a plan. They have a roadmap, they have a plan, they have a blueprint of what they actually want for their child. They're not in this just taking things as it comes, or kind of just figuring it out as they go. I think obviously, like parenthood, there is an aspect of that, right? Being adaptable, being flexible, and figuring it out as you go. But I don't think that you get into something like competitive sports, especially at like what we're talking about, right? Like the high school levels and beyond, without some sort of an understanding of why you're in this. I share like a very short story. So I had the chance when I first came back home from coaching in China to work with a young man. Great family, awesome family. They actually were having their kids attend like one of these, very prestigious private schools out here. The kids were multi-sport athletes. Both of the parents ran track and field on the Division I level, and now they both work as engineers. So I'm talking about, like, the top of the top. You're like dream family, everybody's family goals type thing, Yeah. And so I met them while I was at the gym training a college player, and the mother was just like, you got to work with my son. You're the person. Like, I never even met the lady. She just literally walked on the court while I was training. And so, I knew that she had to be a well-to-do individual, because, the facility I was training out of, it was only these type of people there, country club type vibe. Yeah. So long story short, she brings her son to me. They take me to a facility that they are planning on investing in. Like they're going to buy this facility. It's state of the art turf, courts, all the nine, all that stuff. I start working with the kid for like 10 minutes. Bro, in the first 3 minutes, I could tell this is not what he needs to be doing. Not from a skill standpoint. The kid was gifted. Like I said, he's a multi-sport athlete. He already hooped. He ran track, and I think he played baseball. But just from meeting him, interacting with him, and I'm the type, I ask kids questions. Not just what's your name, not just how you're doing, but like, when did you start playing? Why do you play? What are your goals? What do you want to get better at? That, just trying to find out who you are.
Yeah.
It was so apparent to you before we even started doing a drill that this was not his goal. So obviously, some weeks, some months go by, and I'm just confirming what I already believe. Like I'm seeing it in his work ethic, his approach, his energy, his ability to get through adversity. What happens when he makes mistakes? What happens when I get on him? Because me and you both, like, we gonna come at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all this smiling, kikiing, like this for the podcast. But when we on the court, it's like, come on now, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I'm here for a purpose. You here for a purpose.
Yeah.
He didn't have that purpose. So I told the parents after about maybe 2 months, right? Because I told them, no, I actually told them the first week, but we cycled back to it after 2 months. And I said, listen, it hasn't changed. I think that this is what you guys want, and this isn't what your son wants. So I say all that, and I tell that story. Honestly, I've told it multiple times, but I share that because I think that they had an idea, but I was the first person to tell them, this is how it looks when you actually sit down and plan. You have to count the cost. And a part of that plan is including your child, asking your child what they want, why they want it. Is this important to you? So we could go anywhere from there, obviously, but I think you got to start with understanding your child and then planning around that love affair. Like, how deep is that love affair? Because if it's for real and this is what your child wants to do, then you'll be able to deal with the frustrations like what we're talking about. Yeah. But if they don't even have that first, you don't have anything. You have a hobby, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, man, because you got to think about it. There is so much that's at our young people's hand and at their feet to be able to have access to. And I'm not talking about negative, I'm talking about just things that schools are offering. Schools, things for community service, things that, okay, if they don't get a scholarship, to play ball, academic scholarships and stuff that brings along and comes along with that, certain things that you have to be a part of, certain things that makes the resume look good. And those are things that you have to be able to, put your child into those situations. And we haven't even touched on homework and studying and having to balance getting your homework done.
Yeah, just getting that work done.
It's a frustrating thing for parents to have to be, especially during AAU season, going here and going there. Yeah. And, especially that AAU season when that March to the end of May, where you're bouncing all the way across the country, homework, having to leave school on that Friday, having different things, missing things on the weekend, parents having to take off. And because please understand, a lot of people sometimes have to send their kids off with with the coach and trust in that. So in that situation, balancing time commitments, it goes back to, like you're saying, you have to have a plan. And one thing I always say is that you really want to check a person's priority, check their checkbook, and check their calendar.
That's right.
Because it will begin to show you what their priorities are. And when it comes to balancing time, we have, parents have to become masters of the calendar. If you don't have and you're not operating off that calendar, it's going to hurt you, because if you're just trying to get from point A to point B, okay, got training over here, got to get to let's just say key club over here at this time, got homework to do, got food, you got to cook, you got, and then if you have other siblings, it's even more hard. And then if you're a single parent, it's even more harder.
Chaos.
So it's just, it's really, really And this is what I say, when it comes to balancing time commitments between basketball and other activities, you have to have a village. You can't do it on your own. You have to have a village. You have to have some people you can trust, whether it's grandmother, grandfather, uncle, auntie, that can, be a cousin, be able to help you out with the ripping and the running that comes with basketball. Excuse me, and all the other stuff that entails, your child and growing up in today's society.
For sure, 100%. T, I love that, and I think that will help so many people if they just grasp those two things, like the village aspect, and then obviously sitting down and planning, counting the costs, from the beginning. I think also it's important that parents and guardians of athletes also understand what is actually important and what's just there. Like, everything that seems good isn't good. Everything that's available doesn't necessarily mean it's the right fit. Like, I know a lot of parents that wasted a ton of money, and this is what they told me. I didn't say it to them. They told me, Korey, I wasted $2,500 this, spring and summer on AAU. Like, it was basically a glorified slumber party, or just, I basically just was paying to go on sleepovers and vacations out of state. I was paying for my kid to just basically travel for the weekend and swim in a different swimming pool when they could have just swam in mine, and we could have had the kids from our neighborhood over, for the weekend. Like, this is what like 6th, 7th, 8th grade parents are telling me. Even some 9th grade parents are telling me. And I'm not trying to bash AAU. I'm just going to be honest with, the parents that are watching this. If your son or daughter is in 4th grade, 5th grade, you don't need to be worrying about them being evaluated, recruited, scouted. Like, there is so much that can happen between your son or daughter at 12 years old and 17 years old. I think, especially like with us watching the Paris Olympics, and I'm gonna volley this one over to you, but we were watching not just what you would call sports that we all understand. We saw sports that maybe we've never had the chance to really watch, right? I had the chance to sit and talk with a sports psychiatrist, and he was talking about early specialization sports versus late specialization sports. What does that mean? Well, gymnastics, for instance, right? We're seeing young ladies compete at the height of their potential, the height of their powers, and they're only 18.
Yeah.
Some of them 19. The young lady who just broke the record for most gold medals, Simone Biles, right? She broke Gabby Douglas's record, I believe. She's considered old.
26, 27.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she's in her 20s.
Yeah.
But she's still a baby age-wise, like that. You were in your golden years, you know what I mean? Like, well, she's considered a vet. Like, she's actually supposed to be retired by now. The last Olympics was supposed to be her last Olympics. The final one, right? So gymnastics is considered an early specialization sport. Whereas if you're 26, 27 in basketball, you still haven't reached your prime. Like a point guard or a guard, someone smaller, not 6'6" and above, they're in their prime 31, 32, right? A big 26, 27, 28 post players, that's when you're in your prime by most experts' analysis.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about when we're saying at 12, this kid's potential is X, Y, and Z? Like, we have to look at bone structure, genes, nutrition, the atmosphere surrounding that athlete and whatever environment they grow up in, the teaching they're receiving, the training they're receiving, the coaching they're receiving. All of these factors go into figuring out where they're going to peak out. Like, it's impossible for you to say, if Johnny doesn't go play with this AAU team this summer, he's not going to play Division I. Like, you hear the Dell Curry story with Steph and Seth, how he pulled them out. Now, obviously, he's an NBA player, right? So he had probably more resources than the average person down the street to make sure his sons were ready, but he pulled them out. and didn't let them play AAU until their junior seasons,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, I, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, and I don't want to create enemies within any space. I have friends on the AAU circuits. I have friends who are against AAU. My thing is, you got to do what's best for you and your family. And if your child, I'll put it like this, T, if your child is getting a great experience in high school, like they are the man on their team, or she's the woman on her team, like they got a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, they shoot the ball as much as they want, or they play, you know, a lot of minutes, then AAU should probably be something where you're trying to get them exposed to playing with a team with other good players.
Yeah.
Like, use it like a tool, because
Mhm.
maybe on their high school team, they're the number one option.
Mhm.
Whereas if they are on a good high school team, or maybe they don't get a lot of burn, you want them to develop that other side of their game as well as their mentality, to go and learn what it's like to like get the ball and play a lot and make mistakes. Like, but parents aren't even understanding that that's really what AAU is for nowadays. They're thinking it's just a place to get recruited. And T, you know better than me. Like, these college coaches aren't even traveling to half of the events that these parents.
I will say this, and parents have to understand that. Just take a look sometimes when during the live period and coaches are at those games. Just take a look and see where they're at, what they're doing while they're at the game.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? The conversations that they're having that are not even focused on what's in front of them.
Mhm.
Because most of the time they come in just to show whoever it is that they recruiting that they were at the game. So they can be able to say that, hey, look, we was at the game, we was there, we did. But a lot of the conversations I've sat near and just listened to some of the conversation game going on, and they're talking about some totally that's not even basketball related. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like and another thing that we see, a lot of people traveling the country, your child getting, in let's just say five games, let's just say 20-minute halves. Let's just say a total of 30 minutes per game, 15-minute halves, 2 15-minute halves. Your son is traveling, your daughter is traveling, and they're only playing 5 minutes for the weekend.
That's nasty work.
That's you know what I'm saying? And some of that is happening, and you're still dishing out money to go because you want them to be a part of something that is not a good fit for them.
Right.
And you're getting frustrated because what you're dishing out, you're not seeing a return on.
Correct.
And so you've got to begin to, once again, one of the guys you and I've trained before here. We came down here in Birmingham and trained him. He's in the NBA now. His dad told us, that who starts out with you will not always be the ones that end with you.
Right.
And then the statement that you said earlier is the same thing you said, that you got to do what's best for your son.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the frustrations, parents, if you're feeling the frustrations, there might be a sign that something is out of order.
Right.
And you have to go back and check everything that's going on, because the frustration just might be, okay, this might not be the good fit. It's kind of like trying to put a square peg into a round hole. It doesn't fit. Even though, everybody say that's the team that you need to be on, it may not be for you. Exactly. And that's a part of being able to balance time, balance commitments, because when you're in your lane, things flow smoothly.
Exactly. That's master key right there, T. It doesn't have to be this rat race, and you don't have to go where the rest of the people that you kind of see in your community are all flocking to. Like, basketball at one point in time at AAU, like I'm just speaking on this right now, when you got to those levels, it was only for the players that were already regarded as future college players anyway. Like, when I was growing up, we didn't even have as many teams. Like, you had the Atlanta Celtics, you had Atlanta Express, which I think was called something else at the time. You had the Atlanta Celtics, you had the Stars. Like, those maybe 4 or 5 teams, if I'm forgetting anybody, they're Game Elite now, but at one point in time, they had a different name. Like I think they were investigated or something like that. And so they had to change. Like those teams, if you were on the floor, you didn't pay. Like they recruited you. They went and got the best players they could find from all the local high schools. And then once the rules changed and you could get kids from neighboring states, then of course, you know, they adjusted and found kids from other states as well. But this now like marketplace that has been created because you're allowing free enterprise, like coaches can just start teams. I could start a team tomorrow if I wanted to, file the paperwork, 501c3, you know, register, do whatever I got to do. As long as I got the bread to put up for registration fees at these events and jerseys, we good to go.
Yeah.
That creates a expectation now from people who don't know that they're going to get the same experience as these teams who have been solidified, who have relationships, who actually have college coaches coming to their gyms, not just to the games they're playing in, but like to their practices, right? They probably even have players that have already gone on and played on higher levels or who have gone on and now coach on higher levels. Like there's so much to this. And again, like T was saying, the best fit is not always going to be the name on the front of the jersey. Like if they have a shoe deal or if they play on a large circuit, your kid might need to play on a team that's not on a shoe circuit because maybe the experience they're getting in high school contrasts and they need the balance. Like I said, if they get a lot of minutes in high school and they're hooping and they don't know what it means to play within a team, then yeah, go play on a shoe circuit team because that's what college is going to be like. It's a lot of up and down, sharing the ball with 4 other studs. But if your son or daughter is playing in an environment where they need the opposite of that, they need to learn how to be confident. They need to learn how to be aggressive. You're not going to just jump on a shoe circuit team and do that.
Yeah.
So now you're frustrated because you paid all this money to be on the Puma, the EYBL or Adidas Gauntlet, whatever. And little Johnny or little Becky is playing 1 minute a game or only garbage minutes. You should have just went ahead and said, hey, there's a good 3-on-3 league that we got out here in the community, or, you know, we got a church league. You can play with some grown men. You know what I'm saying? Like some 20 somethings, some 30 somethings, and you're going to have to go out there and really earn your key. Or, hey, we just out here at the playground, old school, the rec center, you know what I mean? Like call next. Like there's multiple ways around it. Shoot, half the time trainers like myself and Terry, we're putting on runs where we're trying to bring guys in the gym. And I had a couple of high schoolers who could keep up with some of my college and pro guys this summer. So there's ways around just paying out thousands of dollars and then getting frustrated.
Yeah. And so that's one of the acts, you know what I'm saying? We can be on that all night. And parents, you know, coaches, anyone out there on IG, you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm looking between both of them. If you in YouTube, you want to drop that question that you may have in the chat, go ahead and do so. We're monitoring all the chats. But now we want to talk about the desires of parents. And the desires is seeing their child excel and enjoy the sport. Listen to what I said. Seeing their child excel and enjoy the sport. Yeah. There, you kind of go back to the story that you said earlier. There are a lot of kids who are not enjoying the sport.
Correct.
But they're staying in it. Mom and dad have put out money. It's the peer pressure of, you know what I'm saying, everybody around me in my circle, they're doing it. But what do you do when your son or your daughter doesn't enjoy it? And I've had several dads who have told me, he said, as soon as he doesn't like it anymore, it's over.
Right.
But some, they see their kid not liking it. Yeah. They keep them in the same situation. They keep them on the same team. And I'm talking to AAU and things like that because, or they get into the, okay, we're not happy here. Let's go. Let's pack it up and let's go over here. You know, let's pack it up and go over here. And you see a player that has been on 5 teams in 5 months.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not happy. Yeah. But how do parents help their child excel in this climate that has been created in grassroots basketball, even in high school, while at the same time enjoying it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's the coaching, the coaching style, the different things that take place that's causing the lack of enjoyment. But let me just say this to parents: sometimes it's the dinner table talk.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the talk on the way home that's really putting a damper on the kid's spirit in regards to the situation that they're in.
100%.
So how does a parent go about their desires and making sure that their desires of wanting to see their kid excel and enjoy the sport? How do they go about making sure that happens, Cole?
Well, number one, for me, I just go back to why I enjoyed, the game and other things when I was a kid. A lot of times, and I think science has proven it, we all tend to stick with whatever we have some form of like immediate success with. Like, if you're a kid and let's say you try to, enter a spelling bee and then you lose on the very first word. A lot of people don't have the perseverance at a young age to like say, I'm gonna come back next year, study my words. Like they like, man, to heck with that.
Just like situation, 5th grade, Wright Elementary, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm going for the president. You know what I'm saying? I'm a candidate for president of the class. Okay. I lose. I become vice president. I could have been president of the United States, but it was that loss. It was that loss in 5th grade that just killed my political career.
Oh man, we just got robbed of a presidential candidate.
You got robbed of a presidential candidate at Wright Elementary in Birmingham, Alabama in the 5th grade. I was robbed. I had the best campaign, the best posters. Everybody knew I was robbed.
They cooking the ballots. They was cooking the ballots.
In 5th grade. And all my aspirations of politics was killed in 5th grade.
Now I'm gonna start calling you President Terry, man. I'm sorry they did that to you, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
They robbed us of the next one, the next great one. Oh man. But see, that proves my point right there. We all got a story like that. We all do, man, of like attempting something that we had a heart set out on, or starting something. And then because, at a young age, again, if you don't experience some form of immediate gratification, satisfaction, or success, or excitement, you don't necessarily have to win the first time you try. But if you have enough excitement and thrill, even in the attempt where you might have fallen short, then it'll make that hunger, grow. So I think that parents who are maybe with, starting out with younger kids that are watching this, like if your child is in elementary or middle, I think, you're going to be a little bit hard pressed to focus on what are you introducing to your child. Like I wouldn't throw my, 3rd or 4th grader right into some type of a, high stakes basketball camp where, there's going to be kids who've been playing since they were, in kindergarten, 1st grade, or kids who, understand the grind of it. I'm not going to just throw them to the wolves because I got to know my little man or my little lady. Like I got to know their temperament, their personality. I'm not going to set them up to basically be crushed unless I already know that they are just down for whatever. They with the ish. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can look at certain kids and it's like, man, you've been here before. You know what I mean? So them, they might be okay because they like a challenge. Whereas if I'm working with a middle schooler or a high schooler, and I see that maybe there is a lack of love or a lack of ability to deal with some of the adversities where they seem like they're not having fun, I'm going to start to, like you were mentioning, Terry, look at the things surrounding that player. So like number one, what I have found with a lot of the athletes that I've worked with, especially the higher level ones, there is a lack of appropriate understanding of rest and recovery. Like it's not that they don't love it. It's not that they don't enjoy it. Some of them are just like flirting with the line of being burnt out. Every time you see them, you talk to them, you're like, what's going on? Where you coming from? How's your day been? I just left the weight room. Oh, okay. Well, how was that? Tough. And then it's like, well, you had school? Yeah. Then I had tutoring, then I went to weight room, and where you going after this? So then I'm going, back to my speed and agility coach. And then, I got homework before I go to sleep. And then I'm going to get up tomorrow at 5 a.m. do it again. Now, do I think there's anything wrong with that? No, because I was that way. And there have been plenty others who were that way. But if you're not scheduling in the same way you're scheduling all this great stuff to develop your athlete, if you're not scheduling in something to allow them to rest, to recover, to unplug, to dive into another hobby, then you are setting them up to begin to view basketball as a job, because it's just becoming another part of their ritual. It's not like something that they're chasing after. And you gotta look for the signs. Like, I like working with kids who ask me for more, who are their parents message me and say, he can't wait to come to workouts tomorrow, or he's looking forward to getting back in the gym. Coach, he's missing you, blah, blah, blah. Like those type of conversations, it excites me because it lets me know, like, this kid has a real love affair with the game. And he doesn't necessarily need me, but he's happy to have me a part of his journey, versus the kids, and we all know them, you work with them and you gotta like motivate them. You gotta tell them to go harder. You gotta encourage them through everything. Like, I think rest and recovery is one of those that gets overlooked. I'm not saying it's the biggest or the most important aspect. I just think, it's definitely one of those like just forgotten aspects of the keeping the love affair, keeping that flame burning within an athlete.
One of my guys, Coach Sandy out of Florida, is on. Son is DJ Sandy, a top guard, not just in Florida, but in the nation. Last time I saw him on the AAU circuit, I can't remember, it was in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. And I think we were in Atlanta, maybe at the June Scholastic event, and they were getting ready to leave. I said, "Man, what you got going on?" He said, "Man, I'm about to give him a break." And that is one of the most exciting things that I've heard, because I had all been hearing, talking to other parents, and they're talking about, we're going to the next thing we're doing. We got this. Next, we got this. We got this next.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always trying to get to the next thing.
Right.
Because and to be honest with you, there are so many things that are out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That, you feel like you got to be at every single thing, in which you really don't have to be at every single thing.
Nope.
So just like I just left Florida for a camp, I already know that some of the same kids that was at that camp is going to be at the camp I'm going to be at this weekend. Yeah. And then some of the same kids that was at the first camp in Florida is going to be at the second camp. And then I got a third camp in Florida. And I guarantee you, I'm going to see some of the same kids at the first two camps. I'm going to see them at the third camp.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing for real? What are we doing? But I think that parents have to begin to have heart-to-heart checkups with their kids.
For sure.
Have to have heart-to-heart checkups. I would encourage a parent, especially that you've been going a good stretch. I would say a monthly checkup, a heart-to-heart checkup. Hey, sit down. Let's sit down. Let's take a break. Let's get away from everything for a couple of days. Give them a couple of days to just get their mind away from basketball. And then have that conversation. Hey, son, daughter, where are you at right now? What's your mind in regards to basketball, the team that you're on, the training that you're going through, the preparation that it takes? Where are you at? Are you burnt out? Are you feeling burnt out right now? I think that we don't have enough conversations with our children. And I think that what we do is we just continue to push them. And one thing that we do, now let me help you. Let me help all of us with this.
Sit up, T. Sit up.
Let me help us with this. What do we tell most of our young boys? Suck it up. So they spend all of their lives, when things and issues come, suck it up. Boy, don't cry.
Yep.
And so what we're doing is developing young boys that turn into men that are emotionalists.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is they get into situations and relationships as they get older. And this is, this ties into what I'm saying, but they get into situations and relationships older where now they're in situations that they're unfamiliar with. And the only thing that they know how to do is suck it up.
Right.
and hold all their emotions in, and then later their emotions come out in the wrong way.
Right.
Why I say that? I say that because we don't, parents, we don't have the necessary and right conversations with our children periodically to just do a heart check and a mental check. As we are in a society now that's concerned about mental health, we don't check on our kids' mental health enough.
Right. That's right.
But let me explain this. The stress of offers, the stress of looking on Instagram and seeing your buddies posting just offer, blessed to receive, blessed to receive. And that can begin to get in psyche of certain players and certain kids if you're not helping them with the process of understanding that with a sound mind,
Right.
and being able to mentally deal with seeing everybody else around you get offers, yet you're doing the exact same thing. You're working, you're getting up 5 a.m, you're going to skills and agility, you're going to the weight room, you're doing this, and you're starting to see the pressure in the locker room, the pressure in people here talking about you. Man, you ain't got no offers yet.
Yep.
And so now you're not enjoying the game. Your pursuits are for offers.
That's right.
Not to get better, but you're pursuing for offers. And so what happens is now we develop young men and young women that can't deal with day-to-day life because they're always in pursuit of something that they feel that somebody else got, and that they only can be accepted if they get what other people have got.
Right. Right.
And so when that begins to happen and we're not having conversations with our children, what happens, the desire to see them excel is no longer a desire. It's no longer the desire. It is something that's pressure.
Yeah, because they're seeking fulfillment.
Yeah.
Now their identity is wrapped up in that, versus, like you mentioned earlier, like this is supposed to be something that you once enjoyed. 100%. See,
and a lot of kids are not enjoying, or they're not enjoying the game right now. They're not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And you can see it when they're in camp. You can see it because they're talking about other stuff, and other than you just listen to the conversations.
Right.
Your conversation and your language will always betray you.
And you see how, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you see how quickly they hop on their phones.
Yeah, like they go straight to the phones, like because their life is in their phones.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and I understand it's their culture, but you see guys that guys that next level girls, they're finishing up. They got to go stretch now. They got to do things that recover their body. Yeah. This a lot in this generation, their focus is not really on doing what they say they want to do. Exactly. It's doing it because it's just the thing to do. Exactly. And so parents, I know the parents' desires is for them to excel, but I think that in order for the desires of the parents to see their children excel comes with having some serious conversation when they pull them back from the sport for a little bit, to be able to give them a break, take a breath, and then have that conversation, check their mental health, check their passion, and then let's start back up after we do that.
100%. And just to piggyback off that, and I won't take long because I know we got to move on. Parents also have to understand that at some point, you're going to have to stop living vicariously through your child as they are on their journey. And then also, I think you mentioned earlier when you talked about the conversations in the car, the dinner table conversations, like I've worked with tons of players who, when they work their best, is when their parent is actually not in the gym.
Yeah.
When they play their best is when their parent is not actually watching them from the sidelines. So I've had talk with a lot of fathers within the last couple of years, and the dads have told me that their son's production and the success and the level of play that they've shown has dramatically increased when they would sit in the back row or at the top of the bleachers and didn't say a word while their son was playing or daughter was playing. And then they also maybe just didn't even come watch them work out with me. Like they just wait in the car or they walk around the gym, just remove themselves, because especially since I started working with a lot more like, how do I say this? I used to really be in like the jungle when I first started my business, right? So I was around a lot of kids who came from single parent households. Things have changed. It's a little more mixed now, right? So there's a lot more two-parent households in these gyms. And so I see a lot more fathers bringing their son or daughter to the gym. I've noticed that when I worked with kids who came from single-parent households, those kids were like this all the time. I'm not saying that's better. I'm just saying that that's what it was. The kids, they will be locked in on everything I said. But the kids who came from two-parent households, obviously their identity came from their parents. And a lot of times when it came to sports, their fathers. So even if they did something right or wrong in the gym, they would look to their dad even while I'm trying to talk to them.
Yeah.
Almost like a check. In some ways, that's amazing. But in some ways, that's not good. And you have to be careful that if you're a father or a mother and you're watching this and your child does that, that they're not doing it in moments where that's when they need to be looking within and pushing themselves through whatever it is they're dealing with, whatever it is they're facing, whatever mistakes they may have made, because they're not going to excel and do well if that's your desire, if they don't know how to push through adversity. So I think parents have to learn how to like let go of the steering wheel at a certain point, because especially if you didn't play on the highest level, or if you've never coached a player from grassroots all the way to professionally, I'm just going to be real. You know your son better than we do. You know your daughter better than we do, but you don't know how to do what we do.
Yeah.
So you have to, at some point, let a coach, let the ref, let the players play. And
it's kind of like this, Cole. We're not coming to your job telling you how to operate on the patient.
Nor do I want to.
But a lot of parents come into the gym trying to tell the coach, and I understand there are some coaches that are social studies, but I'm talking about the real coaches. You know what I'm saying, that they're really understand and know what they're doing, and not just doing it because somebody has to coach the team. But for those that are really coaching, that's what they do. Whether you like the method or not, that's what they do. They're a coach. Yeah. So you got to give them the ability and space to be able to do that. But Cole, I train. I do the evaluating and scouting. I've learned. And there's a coach that he makes jokes with me when I come into the gym. He says every time he see me coming in, "Oh man, we're finna lose tonight. You in the gym." because they look, some of them I train, then the others just know I'm an evaluator and I'm a scout. So what happens is the ones that I train, they lock up. And then the ones that I'm, that know me as an evaluator and a scout, they stop playing team ball. Yeah. Because they're trying to make sure that they play it well in front of Terry Drake, So it's kind of like some places I just have to kind of ease my way in until the game gets going where they can't really see me.
Yeah. I had a player like that a long time ago named Jahari Copeland. He was like one of those dark horse, like really good players here in Atlanta. And man, he used to play terrible every time I would come and watch him. I'd be like, boy, what is going, like, I'm gonna stop coming to watch you. And he told me after he graduated and signed his letter of intent, like, I just always wanted you to, see me do well, man. So, I'm sorry I never put up, numbers when you was there, but I just wanted you to see me do my thing. And I'm like, I gotta like replay every time. So
the final one, man. The final one. We're gonna get up out of here. We're at the 59-minute mark. Thank you so much for joining us for the Sunday night conversation. It's been a blast tonight. We're on a series where we're dealing specifically with parents. We got things that's gonna be dropping next week as well, dealing with parents. But here's the last one: fears. Your child getting injured during play. Your child getting injured during play. All parents deal with it. All parents have that in the back of their mind. What if my son, what if my daughter get hurt? Right. And what we have to say in regards to that, what I'm going to say, I'm going to just pass it over to Cole, is that you have to do everything. This is why recovery is so important. I know I'm jumping to the end of the stage, but this is why we're pre-work. This is why the stretching is so important. Sleep is so important. Recovery is so important. Nutrition is so important. Doing the things that maximize everything in regards to your body to make sure that they are functioning. Your body is functioning to the level in which it needs to function night in and night out. And I know we talked about this a little bit before we started the Sunday night conversation. I had you on just as a guest, but we talked about what they talked about Derrick Rose and how the injury bug started to get him. And when they look back over his career and how many games that he was playing in AAU, they start questioning, are kids playing too much AAU basketball? Because at an early age, they're not allowing their bodies to fully develop. And their body is already taking that toll in them hammers and that hitting. And how many miles do kids have on their bodies before they even get to high school? From all of the training, all of the games, all of the things that goes on, you know, if you're not playing with your team, you're going to play with somebody else because they got something going on. How many miles are on those legs? And you're ruining your career at an early age while trying to get quote unquote better in what you see other people doing, but it's not necessarily the right way in regards to taking care of your body.
It's not. And it just goes back to the point we made earlier about late specialization versus early specialization sports. You know, it's like a race right now to see who can be top 100, top 50, top 25. And I mean, you're an evaluator. So, you know, we're not taking shots at people who work within the space.
Yeah.
But how many guys in the league, like if you think about the most recent MVPs, like the last 5 to 10 MVPs, how many of them were ranked in the top 50 or top 25 in middle school or high school? It doesn't matter at the end of the day, you know. And even when you look at where some of these guys attended college, they don't all go to Power 5 schools. You know, like some of the highest paid players in the league right now went to places like San Diego State, Weber State. Like you could go on and on and on and on, right? And I think that, like you mentioned, you know, when it comes to sleep, parents need to know like real stories so this stuff can stick. Like I remember when the Golden State Warriors won that, when they lost the finals, but they broke the Bulls record. They went 73-9.
Yeah.
There was a study or article that was posted while they were on this run right before they went into the playoffs. And it was talking about what changed Steph Curry's career and the rest of the Golden State Warriors trajectory once they hired Steve Kerr. And the headlines were basically talking about how Steve Kerr and the front office management hired a sleep doctor for the team. So they measured the team's free throw percentages. They measured everybody's field goal percentages. They measured the injuries that they were all like accruing throughout the season, non-contact injuries, not someone falling on you. You can't predict that. But just, you know, pulling a hamstring, twisting an ankle, things that sometimes result from fatigue, because when your muscles become fatigued, you're more susceptible to something going wrong. And it proved that when the players all took sleep seriously, they specifically focused on Andre Iguodala, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Sean Livingston. When those guys all took sleep more seriously, all of their field goal percentages went up, free throw percentages went up, they played more minutes, they obviously played more games, and they stayed injury-free throughout the course of that season. So if that's what the best of the best are doing, and we're all like kind of a copycat society within this basketball community, then parents don't need to be focusing on playing more, as to your point, TD. They need to be focusing on, like, what is it that is going to allow my child who is in a late specialization sport? I repeat, this is not the Olympics where you're a gymnast and you're trying to be the best in the world by 18, 19 years old. You're trying to be the best over the long run. You can go from JUCO to D1. You can go from JUCO to the league. Like, I worked with a player by the name of Keon Ellis, who went to a small junior college, then transferred to the University of Alabama after 2 years, and then now plays for the Sacramento Kings. He wasn't even top whatever when he was in high school, and he for dang sure didn't go Power 5. I just told you he went JUCO. Like, the examples are there. They're there. They're clear as day. But again, you have to be willing to go against the grain somewhat and understand what your child needs versus what someone else is just telling you. And I also think for those who maybe can't afford to hire, a sleep doctor or a speed and agility coach or someone who's going to stretch your child and do modalities with them, like everybody can't afford that. At least work with someone like a skills trainer who understands more than just skills. Like my players, they already know if they're watching this, they will tell you in the comments, they're not even allowed to get on the court if they don't show up early, like 15 to 20 minutes early, and foam roll, do a hamstring complex with the resistance bands. I make them use booty bands, like what you see women use in the gyms when they're trying to get their buns right. Like they have to do monster walks, they have to do defensive slides. We do all different types of complexes before we even get on the court. That may make you think that, well, I'm just trying to steal your money because I'm filling the time. But no, by the time the workout starts for real, the athlete already feels as if they've done a workout. And so now I don't have as many people twisting their ankle, popping an Achilles, pulling the hamstring. And guess what? They're getting stronger. Steph Curry, I'll stop with this. Steph Curry, obviously one of the best point guards to ever play, one of the best players in the league right now. His personal skills coach, I think he's been with him now for almost a decade. He started with him when he had the ankle injuries. So he's seen a lot. He said the fastest way to help a player improve is not skills, it's not drills, it's the weight room. If a player is willing to get in that weight room, willing to stretch, willing to work on their range of motion, their mobility, you're going to see them shoot better, run faster, jump higher, defend better. All the skills you want them to show, it's in the body. So, rest is a part of that, obviously, but parents have to understand like what to look for. And it's obviously our job now on this podcast to inform you guys. It's not about like just the nifty drills you see online. It has to be holistic. Right. So hopefully that helps some people out there. Hopefully it makes sense to you. If you got something to add, I don't want to cut you off.
No, we good, man. We good. We got the hot box trainer said, I need you to post that sleep info on the reel. We got you. He said, these kids do not sleep. Yes, they do not sleep. Thank you for tuning in, Hot Box Trainer. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in tonight. We have conversation on the Sunday night conversation with your boy T. Drake, co-host Korey Harris out of the Hot Atlanta. We talked about frustrations of parents, desires of parents, and the fears of parents. A wonderful episode tonight, a wonderful podcast tonight. So we thank you for tuning in with us tonight. We're a little bit over on our time by 7 minutes. We try to keep it within that, hour range. But, like I said, this is the first episode in regards to the parent series that we started. We'll be right back next week talking about the same thing, but a different type of concept, still talking about the frustration, desires, and the fears. But in the midst of that, please go ahead and just let some people know, hey, look, man, Sunday Night Conversation is live. It is a great, intriguing podcast that's sparking conversation, sparking questions, sparking your mind, sparking your brain, giving you things to think about, things for your kids to think about, things to be able to how to interact with your kid, because it is definitely needed. It is definitely needed, and how to be able to help parents navigate through this journey. And so many parents, with the NIL and with the, the money that kids are making now when they go to, high school and college now, so many people are pushing their kids, and the kids don't even want it. But you just gotta, what are we led by? What are your desires? What's the end goal? The end goal? Are you pushing your child towards something that they do not want to be? Because what happens with that is when you do, you begin to see a rift in the relationship. You begin to see a rift that slowly develops because they feel like, okay, your mom and dad is pushing me and not loving me. They're pushing me and not understanding that this is not really what I want to do with my life, but they're pushing me, and you begin to see the chasm that's created between the parent and the child. And so you see your child begin to hang with other people, or that's why you will hear this often when parents say, well, they don't listen to me anymore. Whenever you say that, parents, there's something that has occurred that you have done that has broken that relationship and that cord of communication.
Wow. Wow.
Because trust me, at the end of the day, the only person that's going to be affected when you're working late and that's going to really remember it is your child. The only person that's going to really remember it that you're not really listening to them is your child.
Hmm.
They're gonna be the ones that's gonna remember the moments when they just wanted mom, they just wanted dad, and mom and dad was on the other end saying, "Boy, why you didn't do this? Why you didn't do that? Why you didn't take that shot? Why you didn't rebound that ball?" Or they see mom and dad with a bad gesture on the sideline when they make a mistake. They remember those things and carry them for a very long time.
That's right.
And then what begins to happen is they wonder, where's mom? Where's dad?
100%.
And so
100%.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna definitely post the article. I see Cole, you've already sent it to me. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can post it in the chat.
Yeah, share that with the people out there.
Everybody, real quick.
Wanted to make sure you guys had that.
Get up out of this. We're gonna also post it when we drop the stream, the snippets. We're gonna drop it. We're gonna drop that as well. Let me see if I can get it over here on Instagram right quick for my boy Hotbox Trainer and all the rest of them. My boy Coach Sandy has rocked with us for the whole hour, man. I really appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir. Coach Sandy, what up?
Hotbox Trainer. Yeah, and you need to be here earlier. Hey, man, look, check this out, Hotbox Trainer. Listen, we're here every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time. We're just dropping knowledge, just talking. Me and my brother right here just really just talking the game. Not too many people, drop something in the chat, but Hotbox Trainer, Coach Sandy over there rocking with us tonight, throwing up the fires, throwing up the bullseye. So we appreciate you, Coach Sandy. I look forward to seeing you soon. Hope the boys are doing well, man. Tell them I said what's up. Tell DJ to give me a shout sometime this week. Well, I'll reach out to him sometimes this week just to catch up with him and see how he's doing. But outside of that, Cole, man, got anything else you want to share with the people tonight? I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining the Sunday night conversation. We hope that it was helpful. We're going to be posting it. It's going to be live on the YouTube channel. Go in and subscribe, because that way you can begin to share it with other people. But Cole, what you got for the people, man?
100%, man. As far as the parents that have been rocking with us on this podcast, and maybe even if you're watching this on a playback, my advice, just again, I don't have kids, but as someone who works within the space, working with families and collaborating day by day with them, make sure that you are embodying what it is you want to see from your child. It's one thing to tell them with words what you want them to do or how you want them to behave or who you believe that they can become. But it's a totally different thing if you yourself are the primary example of that. And I'm talking as simple as from how you speak, how you carry yourself, what you eat. If you work hard, your work ethic, like your ability to react to adversity with positivity, to remain solution minded in the midst of problems, like if you yourself are the example, the light, or just the standard for them, then it takes the pressure off of everyone else needing to give them whatever it is you feel like they need. Obviously, there needs to be a coach in their life. There needs to be a trainer if they want to learn a skill set, a tutor if they need to learn a subject. But if they at least can look at their mom, their dad, their grandparents, their guardian, whoever you are to them, if they can see an embodiment or some sort of a principle within you, that will go so far, and it will teach them how to respond to whatever comes along the way. So I just want to make sure that, I'm reiterating that, because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my mother. She embodied a lot of things that I'm still trying to embody myself today. And I know when I have a little man or a little lady in the future with my wife, we are already thinking like we need to make sure we get ourselves in a certain way or in order, so that when they look at us, they're not wondering like, is that how you do it? Like maybe my folks don't really know. Maybe my role model will be my coach at school. Like they can have other role models, but I don't want them looking outside of the home. So from me to you, just please make sure that whatever you're telling your kids, if it's something right, that you first are walking in it. And it'll make our job a lot easier as coaches.
There you have it. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. We're 14 minutes over our time. Actually, minute 15 as an hour 15 as of right now. We thank you for joining in tonight. We do apologize for being 15 minutes over, but thank you for rocking out with us. Hey, like I always say, everybody wants the champion's power, but nobody wants the champion's pain. But to get the power, you got to go through the pain. And you will see T. Drake, Korey Harris right here next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. In the meantime, go ahead, like, subscribe to the channel, like the podcast episode, share it when we post it out there. Go ahead and share it as much as you possibly can. Let everybody know. Still two brothers, Sunday night conversation. You need to join them. Hey, look, we'll see you on the next side. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next Sunday. Peace.